Alrighty. Hello, everybody. I hope y'all are having a good day. It's a wonderful, what is it, Tuesday today? Yeah, May 27th. And we're going to be getting into how to start fishing for less than $100. At least the equipment that you'll need for it. We've got our rod here. We've got some other goodies. We've got our line. We've got a bobber. That all came out to $78.47. And then some other things you're going to need is you're going to need some hooks and sinkers. Now, I'm going to be cheating for this because I didn't buy those, but I always get the Eagle Claw. I don't know if you guys can see that there. Size 8, because they're one of the only brands that has barbed hooks now. So yeah, so go with the Eagle Claw size 8s. That's what I use for trout. If you want to catch like sunfish, rock bass, you could go size 6s as well, I guess, if you wanted to. And then the sinkers, it doesn't matter, whatever brand you want, it's fine. Just the ones that I like have these little ears on the end of them. They're called. I don't know if you can see that. But yeah, right here, those are called ears. So whenever you you bite down on this end, that goes onto the line. Then if you want to take it off, you just bite on the ears and it opens up real easy. You can use earless ones as well, but those ones are tough to open if you don't have something to open it. So yeah, let's get into it. So first thing we have here is the Ugly Stik. This is a Hood Classic fishing rod. I mean, it's one of the best. I mean, rarely ever is it going to break. I've never had an Ugly Stik break on me. Now this one, I know some people getting in are like, holy heck, it's $70. It does come with the reel. So you got the rod and reel. This is just a nice little ultralight. I think it's like, what, 4 feet? 4 feet? Where's it at? Aha, okay, 4 feet. Yeah, it's like a 4-foot rod. And then it just tells you some like basic information here on the end. So the Ugly Tech construction, it's nothing fancy. It's just like a fiberglass rod. And then you can go to like uglystik.com if you want to like look at guys, and then you just scan the QR code here. This has a 10-year warranty on it. So, that's the reason that you go for the Ugly Stik, because the other rods, they might be cheaper, You get like a Shimano rod, but there's a whole bunch of different fishing manufacturers, Shakespeare as well, Ugly Stik, Shimano. There's one that starts with a T. I can't remember what the name of it is, but basically, I mean, they're all okay, but like Ugly Stik, that's just what I go for because they use fiberglass. It bends. You want to have it bend. Like, you see how this bends right here? I mean, that's about all the bend you're ever going to get out of the rod at max. That's like if you have a 100-pound fish or something crazy on it and you're just using, your ultralight. So if you're starting off fishing, you're probably not going to go for a 100-pound fish with a ultralight rod. You're going to be catching sunfish, bass, perch, maybe a catfish, crappie, stuff like that. But yeah, the 10-year warranty is definitely worth it. I know it's going to be a little more expensive. It's probably going to be, $70 instead of $30 if you get like a Shimano or a Shakespeare. But I mean, it's worth it. It's 100% worth it. Like, just wanted to show this over here. So this is my rod that I've had for a long time. I've had this since I was 7, and I am 23 now. So that's like what, 16 years I've had this rod. And the only problem that I have, let me just get this hook off there real quick. The only problem that I have with this rod is this bottom eye comes out sometimes. I mean, that sucks. I should definitely put some super glue down in there. But yeah, I mean, everything else is fine. This rod's never broken or snapped when I've had a big fish on or got it stuck in a tree. Sometimes when you get stuck in a tree, you're just going to yank it. I mean, it's going to happen, right? I get pissy. And I'm just like, you know, F this tree. And I just want to tear the whole thing down. So you can definitely do it with an ugly stick. I've taken out an entire rhododendron bush with this bad boy. I remember exactly where I did it too. It was up on Bob's Creek. That part of the creek doesn't have water in it anymore, but I was fishing this log and there was a rhododendron bush above it, and I tore the whole thing down with this thing, and nothing broke, nothing snapped. I mean, this is a grade A rod, ugly stick, you know. You can't see the name anymore, but this is an ugly stick. And then I've got this is Shimano Sienna, what is it, 1000 FE? Yeah, 1000 FE. I've had this reel for 9 years, maybe. I mean, after a while, you know, you got to oil your reel and it might rust, you know, if you leave it in the water for some reason, whatever happens, I don't know. Don't take these into salt water though, because these are not saltwater reels and they will rust. So don't do that. But this one doesn't have it. I'll show it to you guys on this one. There's a little lever at the bottom of most reels where you can flip it. So it's locked right now. So it doesn't, as you can see, it doesn't go back. It just reels. Well, doesn't go back, just reels. Oh, it fell off the eye. Yeah, so these things, I should probably mention that. These are called eyes. That's what's on your rod, is the eyes. But if you flip this little switch the other way, it's different on each rod or reel. I don't know why that is, but it just is. You can now, you know, reel this backwards, and that lets the line out. As you can see, hold on. I don't know if you can see that with the sinkers, but that's regular reeling, and then you can reel backwards. So when you're tying the line on, make sure it's locked so it doesn't do that, because it will take you forever to reel your line in when you're first spooling it. Okay, just some, oh, yep, see, didn't lock it, it came right back down. Okay. All right, we're all good. All right, so let's get into it. You've got your rod, right? And now you want to take all this stuff off. So just take everything off. You can save it if you want to, if there's like information on there that you want to look up. You know, right there. $70 for the rod and reel. I got this because there was a Shimano one that I was gonna get that was $30. But I saw this one and it has an ugly stick reel on it, and I've never seen an ugly stick reel, so I'm not sure on the durability of these things. But if it's like the rod, it's going to last you until the world explodes, until the sun turns into a supernova and goes kaboom. I mean, these are just tough as a... Get all this stuff off of there. All right. Jesus. And make it a little easier to do that, but no, why would they do that? Nothing else, just, you know, information on the ugly stick and the brand. That's about all there is there. There's QR code, you know, stuff like that. This is the Ugly Stick GX2. They're basically all the same. The rods don't really change. Changes if you go through the brand of the rod, because sometimes they'll use carbon fiber rods, which are more brittle and don't bend as easily. So if you get a big fish on there and you're using a carbon fiber rod, you better hope that it's a big rod, because the fish, you know, the reason you get something like this is because it can bend, and that displaces the amount of stress on the rod. Whereas if you have something that's stiff, it can't handle the weight as easily, right? And you can always, like, if you're worried about the rod tip snapping for whatever, this is called your drag down here. So you can set this to tighten. We'll get into that later, but you know. So yeah, this is called your bail right here. This is what you open up whenever you're about to cast. And then you want the line right in there, because if you set the hook and it's on the ring, the bail will start to open up and you will probably miss the fish. So yeah, so just remember to keep that line in there. But yeah, I mean, this is a pretty simple rod and reel, nothing too much. This tightens or loosens your, this thing over here. Tightens or loosens your handle. So if your handle's messed up for whatever reason, you can just, you know, open it up, loosen it, tighten it, whatever you have to do, till it gets comfortable to you. Okay. And we've got the line here. Let's see. So this is, I got Stren 6-pound test. You probably won't need anything more than this on ultralight. But, you know, sometimes you hook into a big catfish. You never know. But yeah, 6-pound test, I mean, it's pretty easy. You get 330 yards, and it's $8. So, you know, not too bad. If you want something else, you could use spider wire, or Berkley, you've got Zebco, that's another one, Suffix. There's a whole bunch of different, you know, line manufacturers. It's all basically the same. The color might be different, and then it might be, this is just mono. So it's see-through, that's why it's called mono. And then you've got braid, which is like a green, it's like a green string kind of thing, or wire, I guess you could say. But yeah, as you can see, this is all just, it's clear. Depending on what fish you're fishing for, some get really spooked, so you might want to have a line that has less pound test, because if you go fishing for like steelhead, they get really spooky. So you want to have something that's, you know, not too much. You can't really see it. It's not as thick. It's not as dense, because the fish, they can see that. Some fish are pretty sneaky. If you're fishing for bass, you could throw a stick into the water and they would attack it. So you don't really have to worry about bass. Those things are dumb as a stump. Okay, so what you want to do when you're putting your line on, I gotta say this because someone did this and I was like, why did you do that? But, you know, he was looking at the video. I don't blame him. You know, if someone told me to do that. Some people will just tie the line. They'll open up the bail. They'll tie the line, and then they'll have to, you know, they'll have to hold it here, and then they'll have to reel it in, and it takes a little while. So what you want to do when you're first putting line onto your reel is you want to take it down through the eyes, and we will see why here in a little bit. So just lead it down through the eyes. Usually there's 4 or 5 eyes on a rod. This one has 5. My other one has 4. I don't know how many my fly rod has off the top of my head. But yeah, we're just leading it down here through the eyes. And then we get to the bottom. It doesn't really matter what knot you tie. You can tie whatever kind of knot you want. I always struggle with this part and it pisses me off. So, you know, you just want to get through there. You can tie it like you'll tie a hook, and I'll show you guys how to do that here in a little bit. But, you know, just take it over, down through. Sorry this is not as showing as it should be because, you know, I'm a retard. So just going to do it first, and then I'll put some knots up on the screen right now if you guys are watching the video, so you can like follow along or do, you know, whichever one looks good to you. There's a whole bunch of different knots that you can do, and it really just depends on what you want. Doesn't really matter. Always spit on the line if you're tying a knot, because if there's no moisture on it, it won't have any kind of, it'll just break sometimes. It'll be brittle. So if you put some moisture on there, it won't break as often. It's the same thing when you're tying a knot to your hooks. Let me just tighten this up here a little bit. And then if you want, you can use nail clippers to cut the line, or, you know, I'll use nail clippers for that, but usually I'll just bite it with my teeth. If it's 6-pound test, if it's 4-pound test, it's not going to hurt your teeth. If it's like 8-pound or up, you know, maybe use nail clippers, because eventually that'll hurt your teeth over time. Okay, so you want to cut it as close to the knot as you possibly can. At least the excess line. Okay, so got our knot. We got our line in there. And so this is the problem with not putting it through the eyes. There's enough strain or tension on this line that when you start reeling it, you don't need to hold on to the spool of line that you have, and you can just reel it in. I'll do a little close up. So as you can see, just reel in, lines getting on there, and over time, it's gonna fill up. You want to make sure that you don't reel too much line in, because if you have too much, then it's gonna explode out the top here because it comes out from under this lip, this little like mushroom cap. So don't reel past that. That to me, that right about there looks like a good amount of line to me. You can always do more, but you don't want to, like I said before, give it so much line that it's going to come out the bottom. See, that's what happens right there on the bottom. Oh, the drag is set the whole way. And then, so the drag, that's like the tension of the line being able to pull. So I'm pulling this and it's just like barely coming out. But if I loosen this up, now that's tightening it. So if I loosen this up, I'm going to be able to pull it out a lot easier. And that's going to be important. When you have a big fish on, you want to set your drag to loose, because if it starts pulling and it's tight, the drag's going to stay, the drag's going to hold, but your line's going to break, right? Because it's a 6 pound test. If you got an 8 or 10 pound fish on and your drag set the whole way and it like makes a run, that's not going to be good for you. So I'm just going to loosen some of this up because I have a lot on that reel. This is a disaster, my goodness. Lines all over the place. Okay. Like you see, I pulled out enough line and that is kind of gone where, the line was going crazy in there. So, that's good. This is where you put your hook out whenever you're done. So we'll cut right a little bit above. Okay, you just cut your line off and then you re-spool it on your spool of lines. So we'll go get that real quick. Okay, and then just wrap it around the way that the line's going. And then when we get to the end here, I'll show you what to do. Okay, I took too much out, but that's okay. That's okay. Mistakes are going to happen when you're fishing, so it's best to just, observe the mistakes, see what happened, and then learn what you can from it. And then, so the next time you make that mistake, it won't be as bad. That's at least the goal. Just going to bite it off because fuck it bird nested. And I don't feel like dealing with that shit. So, there's going to be a little piece of tape that always comes with your line that's holding it down. Don't throw that away. Should probably said that before, but don't throw that away because you'll use that to tape the end of your line down, as you can see right there. End of the line that we re-spooled, and then you'll take the tape, just hold it down like that, and then your line is all good. And sorry if the camera's kind of looking funky because I have it attached to the top of my piano stool because I don't have like an arm to sit it on or whatever. So you take the end of your line, you've got your line on. What do you do next? So take out one of your hooks and tie it on there. Put it on the end. So you'll take, it's hard to see, but just put it through the eye and then take part of the line, take the end of the line, take it up here, about 2 or 3 inches, and then just spin the hook 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times is what I usually do. You can go 7, 8, 5. It'll be all right. Just don't go below 4. And then you see there's going to be a little hole at the bottom where the hook and the line connect. And you just want to take the end of your line and put it, oh Jesus, Hello, everybody. I hope you are having a good day. So, we're going to continue where we left off yesterday. I was in the midst of talking about sinkers and my battery died on my GoPro. That's pretty awesome. But we were talking about sinkers. And if you're going to put multiple on, just make sure to space them out about an inch apart. I don't know if you can see that. About an inch apart is what I like to do. That way it'll still have weight, but if you put them all in one spot, it's not going to look as realistic to the fish. So yeah, that's why you space them apart, in my opinion. That'll be more important if you're using like a fly rod, or if you're using minnows and you're using a spinner. That's where that'll come in handy. If you space them out, you'll notice. Because if you just put them all in one spot, it doesn't like look as realistic when your bait's going through the water. And let's see, I got a bobber because why not? I thought, why not? If you're starting off fishing, a bobber is a good strat. It's pretty easy. It's not hard to use. It teaches people, just, I guess, the basics of paying attention when you're fishing. So if you're using a bobber, you don't need to change the sinker. I don't know why I did that. But just put the bobber, there's going to be like a little clip underneath, little hook. And just put the line in that clip and then let it close, and then you've got your bobber. So this will just sit on top of the water. I got this for 49 cents at the store that I went to. So they're pretty cheap. They're not, ridiculous. It's just a piece of floating plastic is really all that it is. So you'll just cast it out there and your bobber will sit on there, and then when you're getting a bite, it'll bounce up and down. It's pretty easy for lake fishing. That way you don't have to keep tension on your line at all time with your finger. Because usually to feel a fish bite, I have my finger here, or I just, put my finger under like that, or you can take it out like this if you want. That way, when you set the hook, you need to have your hand tight on that line so that you don't miss the fish. But if you're using a bobber, you don't have to do that. You just, watch the bobber, and that's all you really have to do. And you'll notice when you get a bite, because it'll go up and down, it'll go into the water, stuff like that. Pretty simple, nothing too crazy today. Maybe we'll get into some other stuff in a different video, but some other things that you can buy if you don't have to, but if you want to. I have some other things here to talk about. You've got your forceps, as always. This one has a little measurement tape on it. It has like a little retractable measuring tape, and then usually, yeah, it's just that. You just use these to get the hook out of fish's mouths, or if you catch like a turtle, you could use this. This will be helpful. Of course, if it's a snapping turtle, maybe just cut the line because you don't want to get your hand bitten, obviously, yeah. But if it's down deep in a fish, you can always use these to get it out, or if you want to. I personally don't kill fish to eat them, so if there's a hook down deep and it's not bleeding, usually you can just cut the line and let the fish go, and after a day or so, I'm not exactly sure how long, the hook will eventually rust out of the fish's mouth and the fish will be good to go. So yeah, these are helpful though. If you don't want to like put your finger inside the fish's mouth, forceps are helpful. You can get them for like $5 at Walmart. I got these at Bass Pro. So these were like $8 because they love to jack up their prices at Bass Pro Shop. Let's see what else we've got in here that might be useful for you guys. So this is a little spinner box I have. There's all kinds of different spinners. If you're fishing for bass, this might be worth it. They've got things like this. This is one of my favorite. One of my favorites. It looks like a little fish. It's a bit bitten up, so it doesn't have as much, but when it goes through the water, it looks like an actual fish So I've gotten a lot of bites on this thing. I've caught a lot of fish as well. It's pretty marked up, as you can see on the top there. It's missing some paint from, getting hit. Let's see some other things. Other different types of spinners. Is this, let's see, cylindrical bullet looking spinner. It's got like the polka dot little spinning device on it, and then it's just got like a little bullet looking body. These usually weigh a decent amount, so you won't have to use other weights with them. Really, spinners are just personal preference, honestly. This, for instance, this is one of my favorite spinners. What is this? I think this is a Panther, Martin Panther, whatever the hell the name is. It's just got like a brown spinner. That's all it is, but it's got this like green top. I've caught a lot of fish on this, big fish. My first fish ever that I got mounted, the 22-inch tiger trout, I caught it on this spinner. So this has always done me good. I don't have any problems with it. Let's see, and they come in all different sizes and colors. These ones are a bit smaller. The little rainbow one here, and then you've got this golden one. Super bright. What else can we talk about? Always bring a rain jacket with you. You don't need to. I have a vest. It's what I use to put all my stuff in it. It's just easy for me. But you don't have to buy a vest. You don't have to bring it with you. You could just have a book bag or a backpack or even a grocery bag. When I go fishing at the beach, I'll just bring a grocery bag with me. That's what I'll use. Maybe bring a knife with you, good solid knife, because if you accidentally kill a fish and you're going to bring it home, you can always just gut it wherever you're fishing at, in the pond, in the lake, in the river, wherever it is. And that way you don't have to do it at home, and you could just use the water and wash the fish out when you're done. But yeah, that's just a basic introduction to fishing. If you guys want me to make another video going more in depth on like a fly rod or different kinds of bait, let me know. You can always go to Walmart and get worms. I've always used worms. They always work great. Even if the fish aren't really biting, you always catch a couple fish on worms, even if it's a bad day. So, it's nothing too crazy. If you want, you can always go catch your own bait as well. Dig up some worms in the yard, or go get a big net and catch minnows in it, or pick up crayfish, whatever you like to do. Don't go out and, tear up your parents' yard. They probably won't like that too much. But yeah, that's about it. If you guys have any questions or comments, please feel free to leave them in the comments section below. But yeah, that was just like a basic introduction. I hope you guys liked the video. If you did, please feel free to follow, or is it subscribe on YouTube? Subscribe on YouTube and like the video, and let me know what you would like to see next time. So that's going to be it for today, guys. And I hope you all have a wonderful day and you catch some fish.